To my channel, Biz Data Consult. In this tutorial, we are looking at a kickstart for an Excel beginner. We have looked at Excel interface in the last video, how to understand the Excel interface and how to navigate through the Excel interface and enter data. We have been able to tell you that there are basically 3 to 4 data types: text, numbers, dates, and characters. We have introduced you to the ribbon, which is the command center of Excel, and we have been able to teach you the alt shortcuts to navigating the ribbon. In this video, we are continuing with our teaching. Remember that the purpose of this video is that we are assuming that you are new to Excel and you are resuming in an office where Excel is very needed. And we want to assist you in such a way that by the time you finish this series of videos, you will be practically able to stand on your own to do basic things for Excel for your reporting and data entry and manipulations and visualizations for your office. So this is the second in the series of the introduction video. So in this class now, we'll be looking again at data entry. We have done that before, but we'll recap it with one or two things, and then we'll go properly into data formatting. That is Excel formatting in Excel, essential tricks and tricks in Excel formatting. We will look at the autofill function, and we'll move on to the next class. So starting from the last video, I like to add one or two things before we move on to what we have today. We have introduced you to Excel sheet. An Excel sheet is made out of cells which are arranged in columns and rows, as you are seeing here. And for a given cell has a cell address, which is written in form of the column and the row. For instance, this cell that is green here, you can see, is cell H9, which you see in the address or the name bar here. All right. So one other thing I think I need to teach us here is how to insert rows and columns, and how to manipulate rows and columns. So if you have this data set that I have here and you want to insert a new column in between a column, for instance, I click down on this column, you can see the way I click here is that I brought my cursor to this point D, and you can see this black pointing down arrow. That is that the cursor is in the mode ready to select. So I select down and I can right click. When I right click, anytime you select something and you right click, it gives you shortcut options of what you can do with that item. So if I want to insert a cell now, I just press a column rather, I just press insert, and it will give me a column to the left of what I selected. Let's undo that. We can also come to this place and we'll do the same thing. We have here insert, delete, and format. These are things you can do with rows and column or cells. So if I say insert, you see there is a drop down. All this drop down gives you further options for insert, for delete, and format. So the default, if I say this, will be to insert a row, a column. Can you see? Now, if I want more things that has to do with insert sheet column, insert cells, insert cell. So it gives me options of where I can put the insertions. Okay. Now, that is for inserting column. The same thing will apply if I want to insert row. Now, if I want to insert maybe more than a column, I could select, after I've clicked down and selected this, I can press shift arrow to the left. For instance, I want to select to the left and continue. You see, I continue. So I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So if I right click on this now and I say insert, it will insert new 5 rows. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So ditto, you can do the same thing for rows. So if I want to insert a new row here, I can right click and insert a row. Or I may not even right click, I can just come here and do right click. I click there and insert. You see? So it gives me this dialog options of insert because I didn't select the whole row. That's why it's giving me these options. I have the option to select whether shift cells to the right, maybe this cell, I'll just shift it to the right and insert a single cell to the right, not a whole row, or shift it to down, maybe to up or down, or entire row. This means I want to insert entire row. So I'm going to insert an entire row, one single row. You see, right? Can you see now? So this row has been inserted, right? I say undo. Also, of course, it's also showing me that I can insert even column as well. See, entire column. We'll see entire. So this is another shortcut to doing the same thing. So I've told you before that most of the time Excel has more than one or two way to do the same thing. So if I want to insert a number of rows at a time, so I could just select a range of rows, for instance, here, and do the same thing again. I have 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, okay? And I want to insert. I do my insert. It gives me same option again, and I say entire row, and voila, you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you see that? Okay. So that's also insert rows or columns when you are working in your Excel. Now, in this case that I've just taught you, I've been inserting entire rows or entire columns. Well, let me say I just want to insert a range of cells. So I choose this now. I want to just insert a row. It's not a complete row, but just this section that I've selected, this band from A to E. That is why I want my insertions to stop. I don't want to actually insert a whole row. I can do the same thing again um, and right click on it and go to insert. Okay, it gives me that option. Now I will now choose, instead of choosing entire row, I can say shift cell down. That means it will shift this one cell that contains this sys ID 4737. It will shift all these cells along this line down by one down by one step. If I say shift right, it will can shift it right. Let's press shift right, for instance. You see that cell is the content of that is misaligned to the right. So I say shift, sorry. So so I say shift cell down. So normally what I will say, I could shift the cell down. You can see it has moved it down, and it did not insert a new row along the whole line. This is also very important when you are dealing with the data that has a range of data like this. So the other thing that is important is that When you look at this row, you see this row contain this data with headers for sales. This is sales data, header for sales ID, the probably the product, the quantity, the price, and the date of sales. Okay, so you see that this column is not, we are not seeing what is there properly. So what you can do is to resize this. You can look at this place. This place shows where to resize your rows, your columns. And when you come to rows, you can see these edges, uh, these lines shows you how you can resize your rows. So if I want to resize this, I have these options. I could click here, double click on it. It will auto adjust that column to the maximum length of the text or input there. Okay, maybe the longest input of text there is this smartphone. So it ought to resize the column to accommodate this length of smartphone. Okay, all right. So if I say undo, you can see it is undone. So I could let this and drag this edge. So and you see it's showing in width. So and I can select it to the point I want myself and until I get to what I want or more. You see, that's how to resize column. You can do the same thing for resizing row. I can resize this. See, I place my cursor here. You can see it turns to this cross like thing. So I press down my mouse and then I drag it down. So it's changing. As it's changing, it's telling me what is happening. Can you see? So I've expanded that rows. Okay. If it's a number of rows that I want to do, all I need to do is do the same thing. Select the number of rows that I need and just drag. Make sure it's not deselected. So when I drag, you see it applies to everything I have selected. I can undo. The same thing can go for column. Another option to do the same thing is for me to come to this place. See, in fact, okay, resize. If I want to resize, I can come to this format. Gives me options of what to do. So the row, if I want to increase the height, I just type it, and presently the height of each row is 14.4. So if I want to increase it, let's say to 20, okay, I say okay. You see each row is increased to that, you can see, okay, that height of 20. So you can select a range of rows and do that. The same thing goes for a column. If I want to change the size of a column, instead of rather dragging here, I could select that column or maybe a range of columns like this, for instance. I come to format and then I say column width. I didn't specify the column width this time around. Before I do that, maybe I could just come here. Definitely, it will give me what column width is there already. You can see the column width as it is now is 11.67. So let's again take this to, let's take this to 20 for instance, and I say okay. You see the column width increased to that. So that's another option for doing the same thing again. So the same thing with when I had this. Okay, let me have this as this for instance, and let me have this as this for instance, and let me have this as this for instance. So supposing I have this data and it's looking like this, and I want to expand it. Okay, I'm not able to really see what is here directly, and I want to do the resizing once and for all without doing it manually for each column or each row. So I select the whole column and I can come to this same format point. Okay, two ways. As I've selected all them together, if I double click just on anyone here, all of them will be resized at the same time. You see, and they will resize to what each data, according to the size of the data, the length of the size of the data in each column. Can you see? That's very beautiful. So you can use a single click to resize your row or column. You could also do the same thing by coming here again, and that you see auto fit row height. The same thing if you want to do column height, you do the same thing. This is auto fit row height. That's for row. This is auto fit column height. What I just did was a shortcut to auto fit column height. So if I click this again, we still you have achieved the same result. So this is the other thing I want us to get to know how to do before I move on to the next video. So now the other thing that I need to tell us is that for opening, we have opened this Excel now and it's a new workbook and we have not saved it and we want to save our work. We come to file here and then you can click on save. I've saved it, but supposing it doesn't have a name, I could say save as. For the first time, I could say save as, and it will give me an option to save. So it gives me an option to save. Already it has a name, so I'm not changing the name. It gives me the extension of the type of Excel I want to use. You know, Excel has different options. This option is for VBA, as you can see, and there are other options of extension, but this is the default for Microsoft 365. So I could just type the name of whatever I want to call the Excel workbook here, and and to rename it. So in this case, it's actually saving to my desktop. So normally it will connect to save to OneDrive, but you can change it to where you want to change. You can add it to a place. You can browse your system, okay, and locate where you want to save it. Maybe it's saving line to presentation. I can go to anywhere I want. Maybe I actually want it to come here. I'll go to that place, okay, and okay, let me see somewhere. Let's say I want to come here. I come this place. I see this is the only thing that's there. Then I can save it there. And blah. So that's how to save your workbook in Excel. So if you have saved it when you are working, you just press Control S to continue to save at intervals. You can also open new Excel workbook here and you can open an existing workbook which you have saved on your drive or system here. So that is how to open to close to save. And then we always have, if you come to this home tab, you will see this is blank. This is another way to open a new workbook or worksheet. And then we have several templates of Excel, depending on what you do, that you can use template. If I'm connected to the internet now, I will be given more templates, maybe financial templates, sales templates, loan amortization, personal budget, employee data, and things like that. So where we have predefined templates that we can use or modify also to do some other form of reporting. You need to understand this as a beginner very well. Okay. Now to Excel formatting. I will first go to teaching about the autofill function in Excel before we get properly into the formatting. We have done part of the formatting before, but we'll get additional things to that. So you can see, for instance, if I want to enter data, maybe I want to enter from 1 to 30. Instead of me to type 1 here, enter here, type 2, enter here, sorry, type 3, 4, and continue like that. Supposing I want to get to 100 or 50, do you know how long time would that save me? That is not efficient. That is why also Excel asks for a feature that we call autofill. Excel will look at the pattern of your data and you can actually use that to copy it or and it will follow that pattern. For instance, I've typed 1 and I've typed 2. Now, if I want to extend these things to 10 or let's say 20, all I need to do is to select by these two. And when I select these two, you see, one, two, you will see this, this very small green box like a cube, okay? Right there. Can you see it right here? Can you see it? Yeah. That is the autofill undo. So what you do is when your cursor is like this cross now, and then you can drag it down. When you drag it down, it begins to fill it. So as you are filling it, you can see it's changing. 32, 33, 34. If I release it now, it will have copied from 1 to 34. But let's say, let's just put it as, let's say I want to put it at 25 and I release it. You see, what do you have from 1 to 25 autofill? So if what I had here was, for instance, 2, 4, right, 6, okay, now, and I want to autofill, it will not follow 1, 2, 3. Now it will follow 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on and so forth. Let's see, for instance, I've established a pattern with these two, but I can use 3, and let's click down. So instead of, you can drag down, or if you have something there before, you just double click. So I just double click to replace what is there before, and voila, what do you have? You see, it has changed the series from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 with a step of 2 2 2 2. This is the autofill feature in Excel. It's not only useful for number, it's used for text, and it's even useful for dates. For instance, if I want, if I have some dates here, let's say today, let's just type a date. Let's say today is 13 11 2025. I enter. The next one, I type 14 11 2025. I enter. And I try to do the same thing. I select these two and then try to drag it down to wherever I want. You can see it's changing. It's also changing. I hope I'm right. Is it 2025? I type on both sides. Both are 2025. Okay. This is 1314. Okay. And then I go on like that. Let's stop here. I don't know what it's doing there. What is it doing? Is actually replicating the year, not the day. Okay. In this case, it's replicating the year, not the date. But you can't, this autofill, we have an option there too. Okay, if you kill down on this autofill, it's a fill series. That is following that pattern. Okay, fill formatting, we'll get on to that sometimes later. Okay, so for instance, again, I could have, let's undo this. For instance, if I type here January, a short form of January, I type here February, right? And I select the two and press down the autofill function. It fills it down like that because this is the last point where there's a data here. That is why it copies to that point. If there were nothing here, I will have to be dragging it down to the point where I want it to stop. But what I want to just point out is that you can see it automatically fills it. This is how to be more efficient and faster in data inputting in Excel. So I'm saying I want to introduce you to the autofill. Okay. So I have introduced you to this. So I want to also introduce you to flash fill, which is part of your autofill series in Excel, right? So in this case, what I've done here, let's recap what we did here for the benefit of if we miss it the other time or we forget. So I have this number 1, 2, 3, okay? And I want to fill it down to, let's say, 30. 30. What I will do, instead of typing from 1 to 30, I'll just let this first 2 or 3. but 2 is enough anyway. And come here, see, and there is this button you can see here, this box, green box, at this edge. So you allow your cursor to become this cross, and then you s- you you hold down your mouse and begin to drag from that point. Okay, make sure that it's not deselected. So I double click that, then I begin to drag. So as I'm dragging, you can see it's giving me number 32, 33 from where I started from. So I want to stop at 25. By the time I go to 25, I'll release it. You see, it has filled to 25. That is the power of the autofill function. So what I had here is 2, 4, sorry, let's say 4, okay, and I want you to fix. No, this is a sequence. 2, 4. It will actually say that the next thing should be 6, and then 8, and all of that. So if I drag this down to this point, for instance, you see what to do. It will override what is there. And then can you see? So I have it 2, 4, 6. So it can actually anticipate what is the next series of the pattern I'm trying to create. The same thing applies to date. For instance, I want to make date from January to December. I didn't need to type from January to December or even beyond December. What I need to do, if I type January, let's even not start from January. Let's say I just start from, let's say, I say August, right? September, and I want 12-month cycle, for instance, maybe accounting year, accounting cycle. So, and I select this and I begin to do this and drag down. So, you see, as it's changing back. So, I'm already in September. From August to, so for an accounting year, should be what? From August to July, January, February, September. No, that's not correct. February, May, let's see what we have. So you see, August, September. Okay, the thing is that it's not recognizing because the September I typed was wrong. Is this September? Is this how to start September? October? Let's see. Let's see. I hope I was not wrong or something. If I have this and I drag, sorry. See, September, October, September, November, September, December is looking at, I don't know that. What's the shortcut of September? I hope it's not the shortcut issue. I think September is not this. Okay, let me make it smarter. This is August, right? Let's complete it so that we don't get ourselves confused. This is September, right? Okay. So let me just use this. Okay. And okay, sorry. If I just type August and drag down, it should give me September, October, November, December, January, February. You see, to wherever I want to stop. Let me stop at July. That's a full counting year, for instance. You can see. Okay, so it automatically fill the year as I want it. So even if I use the short form of August, it will have done the same thing. If I said August and press enter here and come back here and start dragging, automatically it will recognize the others. You can see September. Okay, that was wrong. September was not SCP, SCP, not SCPT, SCP. October, November, December. Can you see? This is the autofill feature in Excel. So you can use it to fill number, can use it to fill text, you can use it to fill date. For instance, this is a text which I say item 1. I say item 1 and I put my fill undo here and I drag that. Excel will anticipate that there must be item 2, item 3, you see, till where I need it to. So this makes it faster for me to make my input. So another one that is very important is the flash fill function. The flash fill feature is also an autofill feature. So I'm going to show you that now. Let me just insert a column here, for instance. Okay, now when you look at this sales ID, it gives you ID of the product that was sold. So you see that you have ID and 4-digit numbers, right? ID and 4-digit numbers. For instance, if these 4-digit numbers, I want to extract them separately and use them for analysis. So instead of having to type this, supposing I have sales for 1 month or 2 months or even a whole year, we have this sales ID as much as over a million. And I want to extract the 4-digit numbers in each of them. It will be foolhardy for me to start typing them one by one. So I can use the flash fill function. What I will do is that I will write the first two patterns. This is, for instance, 8450. I enter. The next one is 4683, right? I enter. So if I have to complete it now, what do I do? I'll leave, I've entered two. The cursor is ready for the third one. I'll come to this place under editing group. I'll come to this drop down here. You see, this is the fill on option. So anything that has to do with fill is there. What we have been doing is filling down. All those ones we did here, we are filling down. We could have filled something to the left, to the right, You could fill up, you could fill down, irrespective of direction. But this is what I want to teach. This is another thing called flash fill. The shortcut is Control E. So if I want to fill this data down, I just click on this. Voila. You see, it has filled it down. Instead of me typing them individually, I can do that going there. Okay. Okay. Undo. I want to undo. Sorry. Okay. The same thing if I type control, you say the shortcut there is control E. Just control E here without going through that menu, it will give me the same result. Can you see? This is the magic and efficiency of the field functions in Excel. Another feature of the autofill is you can use Control Enter to fill an empty cell with a text, a particular text or number or date. For instance, if I am dealing with invoice numbers or any other thing and I needed to update my records with a particular date, maybe yesterday was 17, today invoices that I'm dealing with is 19th, okay? 19th of 11, 2025. So I want to change my record from 18 to 19. All I need to do is I'll select the place where this is, supposing this is the range where I want to change it to 19. So here I have 18. So what I could do is, let me do it two way. As it is now, these places are blanks. Okay. If I come here and change, that is in the formula bar, and change it to 19 and press Control Enter, or it's activating something else. That's not good for me. So normally if I come there and press Control Enter, everything will change to 19th 11 2025. Why that you are not seeing that here is because that Control Enter is activating another application on my system. Okay. The other way around would have been, for instance, if I have everything here initially, if I had everything initially as 18, for instance, and I want to change everything to 19, I'll select everything. Okay. I'll go to the formula bar and I'll change to 19 and I'll press Control Enter. Normally, as I press Control Enter, you can go and try it on your system. I don't know, is this focus setting that is bringing that up? Otherwise, If you try it on your system, it will automatically populate everything to 19th 11 2025. Okay, that's another feature of autofill. So it can be done with numbers, it can be done with text, it can be done with date, as I have here. Now let's move again to the number group. This group, because you know that Excel is a calculating machine, so you are going to be dealing with numbers, and most of the formatting you are going to be doing with numbers are in this number group. So there are way this number group is arranged. You have here the formatting, the full formatting. If you want to format number, currency, accounting, short date, long date, time, percentage, fraction, scientific, or more. If I click on more number format, it will bring me the format dialog box where I can format everything, both number, both alignment, font, border, field, and all of that. You can bring this format cell up also by pressing Control 1. Control 1. You see, it brings it up. So I have number here, you can see, and I have alignment and all of that. But we are just looking at the number group for now. So we want to format, let's start with formatting numbers. So as we look at this data that I am, you say it's showing what? General. So it means that it's not formatted. So if you want to format it, and you will see that they are in different decimal places. This is in one decimal place. This is in two decimal place, one decimal place. So you can see that the data is not consistent. So for you to make correct calculations on this, then you need to look at it. For you to make good calculation, correct calculations on this, you need to select everything and format it. You come here, you can format it to number, automatically it gives you to two decimal places. All right, okay. You can format it. They are not shortcut. This is comma style. Comma style will format with 1,000 separator. So if we have 1,000 number there, it will print 1,000 separator. So let's use this one. If you use this, because we don't have 1,000, that's why you don't see 1,000 separator. But if we have 1,000 number there, we will see that. Let me change this, for instance, to something of more than 1,000. Okay, can you see? Can you see this? Okay, you see it automatically puts 1,000 separator. That comma is 1,000 separator. That's what we call 1,000 separator. So when you want your number to appear in two decimal places, okay, and automatically have 1,000 separator if your number is up to more than 1,000, you use this comma formatting style. Okay, then one thing you need to know, I've seen people sending files to me, for instance, and they are populating numbers like this. You know what they do? They type, let me see, look at it. When you look at the formula bar, what do you see there? You see 12,445 without decimal place, without comma. This is what is actually what Excel is actually seeing, but it's only appearing like this. Now, if I come here, let's copy this number here. Okay, let's copy this number here. Now, if I come here and do 12,552, okay, know what I did here? I type comma here. This one, it didn't come up because I formatted. I tap comma. Now, if I want to subtract this from this, for instance, let's say this is equal to this minus this. What is Excel seeing? It's not seeing this number because it does not recognize it as number. Okay, if I have two of these and I want to sum, you will see that if you have two of these, let's take another one. Let's say 13, comma, all of that. Okay, I have this. I personally type comma there, not that I formatted it to show comma. Okay, so if I want to add these two together, for instance, alt equals enter. Okay, it's adding it together, right? Okay, but the truth of the matter is that I think the version Excel I'm using is smart enough to recognize that. What I'm trying to teach you is that you don't type comma in Excel. Don't type comma in Excel. If you want to work with Excel, just format with thousand separator. Don't type comma yourself. If you type comma yourself, you know that Excel versions, it will not recognize it as number. This one is recognizing the number. I'm surprised because maybe it's Microsoft 365, which is the most advanced for now. Older versions of Excel, it will not recognize it. And if you try to add these two numbers together, it will not give you any result. Okay, so always avoid, the emphasis is that always avoid typing comma as a separator for your numbers. Most Excel versions or the older versions will not take it. If you try to sum up numbers that you put comma separators by yourself, it will not sum up. All right. So when you want to put comma separator, just select the number and click here, and then you have your comma separator. And whatever you want to add or subtract or manipulate, you'll be able to do it accurately. Okay. So we can format this column, everything here, to two decimal places with comma separator. If you want more decimal places, you come here. You see, three decimal places, four decimal places. If you want to reduce the number of decimal places, you come here. You can see. So, for instance, you can make this look like this. All right. Now, notice that when I click this, it's actually 275.3. So, if I want to make a calculation, it's not making calculation on 273, 275. For instance, if I say equals to 275, let's type 275 here. All right. And if I say 2 times, okay, let's take 2 here. So, if I'm multiplying 2 by 275, okay, enter. What do you have? 550. Now, if I try to multiply what I have here, okay, by 2 as well, you can see. What do I have? 550.6, because it's not multiplying 275. It's actually multiplying what? 275.3. You get it now. So be very careful when you are working with numbers in Excel. What you are seeing here is formatting. It may be different from what actually the number is. So you need to know the number you are using before you start using the calculation. So if you intend to use 824.25 here, you are okay. But if you just type 824 here, okay, you are using this and you want to make it a calculation and you think that is 824,000 or 824 naira, for instance, you will be wrong. All right. So you need to take note of that as well. Then another thing you need to also take note is that you don't put, for instance, you want to put naira or in front of a number. Let's take this 86040. Okay, let's list this number. For instance, I copy it here. Now, right? If I now try to put N to represent Naira there, let me tell you for real, it looks like Naira to you, right? But you see that this cannot calculate. For instance, if I want to subtract this, okay, from this number. Let's say equals to this minus this. You will see, you'll be surprised. It says no value. You cannot recognize it because this is not a number to Excel. This is actually a text to Excel. If you like, put comma separator, it will not change it to number. So you don't type number, text with number in Excel in name of formatting and think that you are formatting it to Naira or to whatever. All right, it will not work. It will not recognize it. It will only recognize it as general or text. Right. So what you can do is that if you want to, let's say we want to reformat this place again. You know, I've come out with comma separator before. Okay, let's say we want to reformat it. We have accounting format. Okay, let's come through this place. So I could do currency format. It will put it there. That's dollar in this case. I could do accounting format. Let's come here. Okay, you say accounting format. You see the difference between accounting and currency. Accounting, accounting will place the currency far away from the number, but currency will take the currency exactly to the front of the number. I don't know the practical implications of that. I don't know they are, I don't think they are different except in the way they look anyway. But more importantly, if you come here, you want more options. For instance, you are in Nigeria and you want to format your data in Naira, you can come to this place and do for, this is pounds, dollar, euro, yen, and all of that. You can come to this place and say more accounting formats. So here you have this. So this symbol that you are seeing here, you can change it to currency of your own country. So I'm looking for Nigeria now. I think I have Yoruba there. I need to be, there are more currencies here now than older versions, so I need to take it. Okay, you see, this is Nigeria currency. Either Fulani, Hausa, Ibibio, Igbo, Kanuri, they are all Nigerians, okay? Just take any of them. So let's take this for instance, and I click this and I click OK. Okay. So voila, what do you see? You see your currency formatted in what? In Naira. So it is better for you to do this than to come here and be typing in. So for instance now, if I take this one and try to subtract this from it, let's do it again. So if I say equals to this, right, minus this now, you see it will give me an answer. Can you see? And automatically it even formatted it because this is smart enough to know that this is formatted. So it automatically formatted this cell as well. Can you see that? So it's different from when you type N and put it inside or whatever currency symbol and you think you are doing calculation. It will not work that way. So take note of that. That's another. Then let's go to dates a bit as well. Okay, when you see dates like this date that you are seeing, if I just type, if I have a column, a cell here, and I just type a date, let's say 03 11 2025, and I press enter. Okay, this it changes automatically to date. I don't think I should have used Office 365 because it's too smart. Ordinarily, this is not a date, but it has converted it to date. I did not formatted this place as date. It's in general, okay, but it's changing it directly to date because it's Excel is now smarter than before. All right, okay, it's changing it to date too. It's smarter than before. If you go to older versions, if you type this, it will, and you want to use it to recalculate or regroup uh dates, maybe into months, into year, into quarters, into into quarters, into months, into year or anything, it will not group, it will not be used for calculation because it's not formatted in date, except you format it in date. So merely typing date, like you are typing something, it does not automatically recognize it as date. You get it? Except you are using Microsoft 365. Okay. Other versions will not automatically recognize it as date. And when you are using that kind of date for calculation or anything, it will not be correct. So whatever you do, always take the rows that you have typed your cell, your time, and come here and ensure that it is formatted to date, short date, okay, and then it will work for you, right? So that is also very important when you are treating dates. Now, if I click on any of these dates now, you will see that this is how Excel calculates. If I click here and go to general, it will give me a number 45979. So underneath, when Excel is calculating, okay, let's take two things that are different. Okay, let's take this one too to general. Okay, underneath, this is what Excel is using to calculate between two dates. It's actually seeing this figure and making it to appear to you as the date you are. So if I want to subtract one date from another date, for instance, I subtract this date from this date. What Excel will calculate underneath is this. But if I now format this to date, you will see that it will give me the actual date. But this, because this is too close, let me change it to something that is far away. Okay, let's use this. Let's say I'm going to use 03 01 2025. Okay, let's contrast it with let's say 03 05 2024. Okay, you know that these are different dates, okay, and they are a bit far apart. Okay, so let's say this is the oldest date and this is the earliest date, right? Okay, okay, I wanted this to 2024, right? So, and they are formatted to date now. So if I say this date minus this date, that is how many days in between them. You see, it calculates it. Okay, so now if I turn this to general, okay, try to do the same thing again. It said this minus this. You can see it's the same 245, 245. So underneath, this is what Excel is calculating. It's using number underneath to calculate, to make calculations between dates in your Excel. So this is what Excel is actually using to calculate. But to you, it is appearing as what? As date. That is why when you format your date, it can calculate accurately. All right. To round up, I need to introduce us to the format painter. The format painter is also important. This under this clipboard group, you see this brush like it's called the format painter. If you read down the tips here, you will see what it does. But I'll just explain to us very quickly. So if you format a particular cell or range of cell, uh, and then you want to apply the same format to another cell or range of cell, you can use the format painter. For instance, if I format this to bold, okay, I format this to bold, and I want to apply the same bold to this other ones. What I can do is I'll come here, I'll click once on the format painter, and I click here. it gives me the same thing. All right. Now, if I want to format more, I want to apply it at more than one times. What I will do is I will double click. Supposing I want to apply this now, I will double click on the format painter one, two, fast. So if I apply, okay, just double click. So I've double clicked, you will see the format painter is like a brush following around. So anything I click on, it will continue to format. Can you see? Because I have selected it twice. So if I have this, I want to on a range of numbers or cell, I can do that, right? Okay. Now, if I'm done with what I want to do, I press escape and it will escape. If I click anywhere again, it won't format it that way. Can you see now? Okay. But what is more important, for instance, if I want to format the whole of this place, okay, and make it, let's put, let's say fill color hmm, is blue. Okay. So I fill this place blue. I want to do the same thing for let me say from this to this place. Okay. All I need to do is select okay, click on this, okay, and apply it to the range that I want to format. Okay, it will format it exactly the same way. Can you see the same format? Right? That's what we use the format painter to do. Okay, let me undo. Another way, if you do something before and you want to repeat the same action, another shortcut to that is to press the F4 button. Okay, so for instance, I formatted this place. Okay, so to the last action that you took, if you want to repeat that action, you can press F4. Okay, let's for instance say I want to format this. Okay, let's put it font color this time around. Let's put it red. Okay, now if I come here and I want to do the same thing for these cells, I don't need to use format painter. I can just press F4 on my keyboard. F4, that was F2. So all right, let's repeat what I've done. Let me repeat it for you to see. Okay, so if I format this, okay, now if I want to format this cell the same way, remember my last action is formatting this with red. So if I press F, let me take it to another color for instance. Okay, I select this. Let's say font color. Let me take this color. I want something that is prominent enough. Okay, all right, see the same color. All right. Now, if I want to format this the same way, if I want to format this or something like this the same way, I could just press F4 because my keyboard is not configured directly. Maybe I press Fn F4. You can see. So in other keyboards, you just press F4 directly, but this modern keyboard, if you need to reactivate a function button, you press Fn before you press the function button. So that's what I have there. You can see that. For instance, if I if I change this to, let's say, yellow color, the yellow will not be visible here. Let's say this is this, right? I want the same action to be performed on this. I'll just press Fn F4. It gives me the last thing, the last action I take. It can take the same thing. Even if this tablet now, Fn F4, you can see it will take the last action as well. So that's another shortcut to taking the last action and formatting your 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 workbook the way you want it, your data the way you want it. So I believe you have gotten value for this session. I've given you a lot here. So this session concludes our teaching on formatting, an introduction to formatting in Excel and the autofill onto field future with other things that I've added to you. In the next video, we'll be looking at formulas and functions. We'll introduce you to simple formulas and functions in Excel. So from there, we'll now go to cell referencing. So formula and functions are a lot, but we will introduce you to the most basic things you will do and how to navigate your way through formulas and functions. If you like this video, if you get value for this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.